Hey guys, what's up? It's Anais. Welcome to this week's video.
1, 2, 3, funky.
It's almost October and a lot of unis in the UK start soon. So I wanted to make this video to give you guys some tips if you're starting out at uni and basically share with you things I wish I had known before I started university in the UK. So in the first part of this video, I will focus on general advice for all uni students, and then in the second part I will give out some tips specific to Lancaster University because that's the uni I went to. I just graduated this past summer, so everything is still pretty fresh in my mind, so I feel like I have enough knowledge to share it with you guys, and I hope you guys get something out of this video. So when I started uni, the thing I was most scared about was making friends, and honestly, it's nothing really to be scared of because everyone in first year is trying to make friends, so you will make some friends, like inevitably, unless you like hide in your room the whole time, which I don't advise you on doing. Don't hesitate to just sit next to someone at a lecture and then start talking to them during the break or before or after the lecture. That's how I made my first friend in Lancaster, and all you really need to do is just make one friend, because from then you can meet their friends or their flatmates and then make even more friends. That's how I made all my friends. I literally just made one friend first through my lecture, and then through her I met everyone else, and that's basically how I made my friends. And if you're like super shy and like you're not really used to like talking to people first, like me, maybe like have a set of questions that you can ask people like when you first meet them. So like where they're from, what course they're studying, where they're living on campus, if you go to Lancaster, like what college they're in, and then you can always ask like what they're interested in or like what clubs or societies they want to join, because maybe you'll find like something in common, and then from there like the conversation will just continue. If you're an international student like me, try not to like stay with only people who speak your first language. Like for me, like I didn't want to just hang out with like French people, and even when I started at Lancaster, like I didn't even stay with French people. Like I just mingled with like people from other countries because I came to the UK to speak English, not to just speak French. But it's always nice to have a few friends from like your country, because it's always nice like from time to time to speak your native tongue, but just try not to only make friends who speak your language, because that's not really like productive, you know? In the first weeks, like, try to talk to as many people as possible, try to meet as many people as possible. Just know that like the friends that you make in the first few weeks at uni might not be the friends that you keep throughout the rest of your time there, because you get to know people and then you realize you're not really compatible as friends. But that's okay, you know, you will eventually find your people, and don't beat yourself up if you don't make a lot of friends or like you don't have your group of friends in the beginning, because like it always takes time to have that group of friends. It could happen in your second year, but it could also happen in your final year. Also focus on quality over quantity. Focus on having some really good friendships with a few people that you know are gonna be good for you, rather than try to be friends with as many people as possible, because like it's good to have a lot of friends, but are they really like your real friends who you can count on? Maybe not. So just focus on like quality over quantity, especially since some of the friendships that you make at uni will last after uni, and if you want them to last, then maybe you should have some really good friends rather than a bunch of friends you only talk to once in a while. You will also have a lot of friends who are just friends with who you go out with, and that's totally fine. You'll have like a bunch of different kind of friends, but as long as you have that one or two people who you really trust and you're really close with, then you'll be fine. I'm pretty sure this year Freshers Week is gonna be pretty much normal compared to like last year when it did happen. So I'm going to give out a few tips from my Freshers Week. A lot of people don't really like their Freshers Week, which is fine, but I actually really liked mine. I thought it was really fun, mostly because that was the first time I was like going out, and like I was hanging out with my flatmates and, you know, meeting new people, and honestly it was fun. Like it wasn't the best time, but it was fun. So I would suggest trying to participate in as many activities as you can during Freshers Week, because that's the best time for you to meet new people, because during that week everyone is trying to meet new people, everyone is trying to make friends and like try to find their people. So just put yourself out there and you'll be fine. If you don't drink or you don't like going out, I'm pretty sure your university will have some activities for people who don't drink or can't go out, and just go to those, and there you'll meet people who are like you, so then like, you know, it won't be a problem. Personally, I like to drink and go out, so I did that in my first year. And don't be scared to go to an event by yourself. Don't let the fact that you have no one to go with prevent you from going. Like, if you want to go, just go by yourself. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. You will meet people. Just like when you get there, see someone who's by themselves and then just like go up to them and talk to them. You know, like they're probably just as scared as you. So just go to them, say hi, what's your name, and then, you know, I'll be fine. Like, everything will be fine. It's always scary at first, but then like once you take the first step, it becomes easier and it's not as bad. Like, what's the worst that could happen, you know? And then finally, for tips for Freshers Week is just like, you don't have to go to every event that your uni has. Just go to like the ones that interest you and the ones that are mandatory, but even some of the mandatory ones, like, you're just gonna forget what they're saying. So honestly, I didn't go to all the events in my first year. I just went to like my induction for my subject. That's really important, and it's a good way to like meet people who are doing the same subject as you. But like for the rest, like, unless it interests you, like, it's not that important. And if it's like in the morning, I would rather sleep, because, you know, you went out the night before and you need sleep. So for most people, university is like the first time that you'll be able to go out and drink, because you'll be independent and, you know, like, you won't be living at home anymore. If you like it, that's great, but don't get pressured into going if you don't like it that much, or if like one night your friends want to go but you don't want to go because, I don't know, you're tired, or you know you have a lot of work the next day. Then don't go. You know what's best for you, and don't let yourself be convinced that you need to go out. Just know the difference between like going out because you want to and going out just because you're scared of like missing out. Because sometimes for me, for example, I was scared of like missing out, and then I went and it was shit and I had a bad time, and then I went to bed late, and then I was hungover the next day and it wasn't the best, you know. So like sometimes I could have said no, but I ended up going because, you know, peer pressure. But don't let yourself get pressured into doing things you don't want to do. First of all, if you're international, for me that was like something I didn't know, but like in the UK, when you're buying alcohol from a store, if you're with a friend, they will ask your friend's ID as well, not just yours. In France, they'll only ask for the person paying, so it's different. And like the first time it happened, like, I couldn't buy alcohol because of that. To avoid being hungover the next day, stop drinking a few hours before you think you're gonna go home. Like, just drink at pre's, and then maybe if you're in the club and you're not drunk and you want to be drunk, then get one drink, but stop spending after that, because first of all, you're gonna save money and it's gonna help you the next day. And then, you know, just have a good time and then stop drinking. Maybe drink some water, ask for some water at the bar, and then once you get home, drink a lot of water, and maybe take some paracetamol before going to bed. And then the next day, you will feel a lot better than if you hadn't done anything. Trust me on that. Like, I've mastered it now. Also in first year, like, if it's your first time like drinking a lot or like going out a lot, try to like learn your limits and like try to not go too far, because like every fresher will go through this where they just don't know their limits and they just drink past their point and they just end up unbelievably drunk. It's okay if you do that, like, it's fine. Like, it'll be a funny story to look back on after, but if you can avoid that, just do it, because like it's just safer. And also when you're going out, try to stick with at least one person, just for safety reasons. Like, you don't want to end up like in the street by yourself, you know. So like try to stick with someone, a friend or like a flatmate, and tell each other that you're gonna go home together or like stuff like that, so that you don't end up all alone and drunk out of your mind. If someone invites you to a party, like, just go, unless you really hate parties. But even if you don't know anyone, or even if you just know one person, you will meet other people. And like, when people drink, like, it's so easy to talk to people, I promise. Like, and you'll make so many friends. That's how I met so many of my friends, just from being invited to pre's by some friends and then meeting everyone. So I have a video of tips for how to study at uni if you guys want to check it out right here. but I'll give out like a few tips right here. So first of all, try to get ahead in the beginning so you don't fall behind. If you know you're gonna have readings to do for the next week after Freshers Week, maybe do it during Freshers Week. I know it's not the thing that you want to do, but it will save you so much time, and then it will set the right tone for the rest of the year. Depending on your course, you don't need to read all the chapters that are assigned for your class. For example, my management class, they would assign us chapters in the book that we needed to read before each lecture, but honestly, I never read them. And like, I was fine. You don't need to read. If you don't understand something in the lecture, or there's a concept that interests you and you want to know more about, you can go back to it in the book, or you can just look it up on the internet. And sometimes searching something and looking for information about something is better for you to retain the information rather than just reading about it in a book. But make sure to read the readings before your seminars, because that will help you know what's going on during the workshop and also help you participate. And if the tutor or the professor asks you a question, like, you'll know how to respond. But also, while you're doing that reading, make sure to take notes, because it will save you so much time when you're revising for your exams. Trust me on that. Like, it will save you so much time, especially if your exam is like an essay on like a topic that you learned about during the term. Try to make friends in your lectures or in your subject so that you can help each other and like study together. I know something that really helped me during my time was like having a group of friends in my class where we would just study together. Like during my first year, I had like 2 close friends who were in almost all my classes, and for exams and like tests, we would always study together. And I know that that helped me so much, because like if you don't understand something, your friends can help you understand, or if they don't understand something, you can like try to explain it to them, and by doing that, it helps you understand better as well. So it's always good to have like a study group, you know? You don't need to buy all the textbooks that are recommended in your syllabus. Most of them, you can find them for free online, or you can just borrow them from the library. Sometimes you won't even read the chapters in the book, so like there's really no point. I remember buying all the textbooks in my first year and only using like 2 of them, and then the rest I didn't use them, and that was just a waste of money, you know? So don't do it. Just make sure that you actually need the textbook before you buy it. And if you really need it and want to save some money, you could like maybe buy it with a friend and share it. That's always an option as well. In the UK, your first year doesn't count for your grades, so like don't put too much pressure on yourself to do good with your grades. But I wouldn't say to like just slack off, because I think it's still good to like try your hardest to get good grades, because I think it sets the tone for the rest of your time at uni. But if you get bad grades in the beginning, don't get discouraged at all. You still have time to like go back up. Uni is so different from high school that like it's normal, and it might take you some time to get used to the new learning style, but once you get used to it, you'll be fine. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, if you're struggling, ask for help. Most universities have so many support systems to help you throughout your time. Like, you're never alone. If you need help, just ask. Every video giving out tips just tells you the same thing, but join as many clubs and societies as you can, and go to the Freshers Fair so that you can see what clubs and societies your university has, and try to get involved in the society as soon as possible. If you can get into the exec in your second term or even second year, like do it, because it will help so much for your CV, especially if you don't have experience. Like, trust me on this, get involved as much as you can, because it will look good on your CV. But it's also a great way to like meet new people and just make connections. If you're interested in like a career in a certain industry, maybe there will be a society or a club that's related to that, so like join that, because it could help you a lot for your career. Like, for example, if you want to work in the music industry, maybe if there's a radio station, I know that at Lancaster there's a radio station, join the radio station, because it can really help you make connections and like just get experience. Or join the student newspaper and write about music. And if you want to work in marketing or advertising, maybe join the marketing or advertising society. Like, you don't realize how much it can help for the future, so just do it. And finally, if you're an international student, you can always join like the society of your country. For example, like I'm French, so I would have joined the French society, but I didn't join in first year because I wasn't interested in like meeting French people. But if that's something that you want to do, then do it. Like I know a lot of my friends who were Spanish joined the Spanish society and met a lot of Spanish people. It can help you feel less homesick. Going to uni, you're probably gonna be living in a new city or a new place. You're gonna be living by yourself for the first time. Living in a new city, I would recommend like exploring as much as you can, because unless you plan on like working where you're going to uni, you're probably not gonna be there after you graduate. So like I went to Lancaster, and of course I wasn't gonna stay in Lancaster after uni, so it's good to like get out there and explore as much as you can, try to discover new places. Also, the time of uni is when you'll have the most free time, because if you start working in 9 to 5 after uni, you're gonna have so much less free time and also a lot less vacation. So try to take advantage of that as much as possible. I recommend living on campus for your first year, because most people will also be living on campus or like living in student halls, because that's the easiest way for you to meet like other students who are new as well, and the best way for you to make friends. Also, don't worry if you don't get along with your flatmates. It happens, you know, you don't have to see them all the time. Everyone has different schedules anyways, so you probably won't even see them that much, and you will only be living with them for like a year. And if it's really that bad, like if you really can't live with them, then you can always change. You can always ask to change. Like you don't have to stay if it's bad. So, you know, there's no stress. Also, for cooking and food, just have a few staple recipes that you know you can make so that you don't always end up eating like pasta. Freeze your bread and your veggies so that they don't go bad. I never used to freeze my bread, but then I started doing it, and oh my god, it's life-changing. Because like when you live by yourself, you have to cook for like yourself, and it's so hard to like know how much food you need, or like if you buy bread at the grocery store, there's going to be so much bread but you can't eat it all before it goes bad. So just freeze it and then just pop it in the toaster when you want to eat it, and it's chef's kiss. Some people you will live with will be messy for sure, and like the best way to like deal with it is just confront them directly. Don't leave like sticky notes or just put their stuff like away. It's just gonna create drama in your flat. Like just go up to them and be like, hey, can you clean that? Or like knock on their door and ask them if they can clean something if they're not being really clean in the kitchen. It's no big deal. It's the best way to deal with it, rather than just leave a note or be passive aggressive, because then that just builds tension within the flat. If your university allows you to do this, study abroad. Honestly, it's such a good opportunity for you to live in another country. Like you should totally do it. Sometimes some people, they don't want to study abroad because like they've made their friends and they don't want to leave them, they want to stay with them. But like if they're really your friends, they're still going to be your friends after you come back from studying abroad. You shouldn't just let that stop you, and you're gonna make new friends while you study abroad anyways, and then you'll have friends in like another country, which is so cool. And you'll have experienced different things and like discover new places. It's so worth it to study abroad. I did it in my second year. I went to Australia, and honestly, I do not regret it 1 second. It was such a great time, and I got to travel all around Australia, but also around Asia, and I wouldn't have been able to if I had decided to stay in Lancaster. Also, it looks good on the CV, so, you know, might as well do it. So living in a new place, away from home for the first time, like you're gonna get homesick at some point. So try to stay busy so you're a bit distracted, but don't like ignore completely those feelings, because if not, it's just all gonna explode at some point. It's totally normal to get homesick, like everybody gets homesick at some point. So just FaceTime your friends at home, or like FaceTime your family, and just know that it doesn't last forever, like it will get better. I didn't really get homesick in my first year because I had gone to boarding school before that, so I was used to living away from home. But in the first year I was away from home, I got so homesick and I really wanted to go home, but then, you know, I just stuck with it, and in the end, like, I had such a great time and it was fine. Try to find something that makes you feel better, like going on walks in nature or exercising, or like do a hobby that you really enjoy, something that makes you happy, so that when you feel sad you can just do that and it makes you feel a little bit better. And if you're lucky enough to be able to go home for like a weekend or like a week, then just do it. Like, it's no big deal, nobody cares. But avoid doing that too much in the beginning, because if you just rely on going home every weekend, then you'll never get over the feeling of being homesick, you know? Okay, so now I have a little few tips for like people going to Lancaster specifically. If you have any more specific questions after this, don't hesitate to message me on Instagram. Like, I always reply. I've had people in the past message me about Lancaster and I've always replied, and I'm more than happy to help. My first tip is like choosing the college. By now you've probably chosen your college already, but if you still haven't decided, I would choose a college that's like closer to my subjects buildings. How I chose my college in first year was I looked at the management school and like chose colleges that were around that. If you haven't visited campus, like I hadn't visited, I didn't know where the colleges were or how far they were. Now I know. So I know that Lonsdale and Cartmel are like super far, and then County is like kind of far as well. Fylde is a really good one. Can you guess that's the college I was in? It has a good location. Furness has a good location, but I don't know, from what I've heard, it's not the best college. It's kind of shit. Grisdale is really good, it's really classy, but it's the most expensive. Boland is pretty nice, especially if you live like in the center of campus, then it's really nice. Also, don't stress too much about choosing the right college. Like, it doesn't really matter that much, like honestly. It's just where you live on campus, and then after that, it doesn't really matter. Unless you like get involved in the JCR or play for the college team for sport. But honestly, other than that, it doesn't really matter. Also, for like going into town and back, get the under 19 day rider, because that is the cheapest and you can use it all day. If you get a return ticket, it's like so expensive compared to like the under 19, so do that. And like, even if you're over 19, like you can still get that because nobody ever checks for your age. It's gonna save you tons of money. If you live on campus, like order your groceries on Asda. You need to order a minimum of like 40 pounds. If you want, you can buy your groceries with your flatmates, or you can just buy them yourself. I did that because it was too complicated with my flatmates to like buy all our groceries together. So I would make one purchase of like 50 pounds and it would last me like 3 weeks. So honestly, I think that's the best way to do it. Don't rely on the shops on campus because they're so overpriced. Buy your groceries from Asda, for example, and then get them delivered. And then if you need like a few things, just buy them at the store on campus. Like, it'll be so much cheaper than just buying all your groceries from like Spar or Central, which are the two supermarkets on campus. Lancaster offers study abroad for like most degree subjects, so like do it if you can. Most subjects is during your second year. If you're not sure you can do it, just ask if you can do it or not. Honestly, it's such a good opportunity for you to go abroad and also you only pay 15% of your tuition fees of Lancaster, so like you pay so much less than like if you just stay in Lancaster. So like, honestly, do it. Like, what are you waiting for? Just do it. And they have so many locations as well. Like, they have so many partnerships. For most degrees, you can go to a lot of places in Europe, or you can go to Canada or the US or Australia, even Asia you can go. Depends on like your subject. And like, you might not get the place that you want to, but like most of the time you will. So just do it. Just do it. So the places to go out in town are Sugar, or the Sugar House. That's the university's nightclub. There's Glow or Dalton's. Those are the same things. And then there's also Generation. Generation is not that great, not that many people go to, but the main ones are Sugar and Glow. The best time to go to Sugar is like Wednesdays, and then Glow is better for like Friday or Saturday. Most international people prefer Glow just because the music is a bit more international. They also have like Latin nights, which is always really fun. And during Freshers Week, make sure to ask your Freshers rep any tips or advice they have, because like they're students at Lancaster and they know a lot, so just ask them anything and they'll be more than happy to help you. There's a lot of societies in Lancaster that you can join. Some of them are more active than others. So the ones I joined are Issue, which is the Fashion Society. I joined the Photography Society. I joined LEWIS, which is the Investment and Finance Society. I also joined anais, which is like a sort of organization that has a bunch of little projects within. So I joined Refiller, which is a nonprofit to help reduce food waste on campus. In my first year, I was also in the radio station. You can have your own radio show if you're into that, but I wasn't really, so I just helped manage emails. And then I wrote some articles for Scan, the student newspaper. If you like writing, definitely get involved in that. Just go to the Freshers Fair and like scout out all the societies and choose the ones that look the most interesting to you. But most of the societies that are at the Freshers Fair will be active during the year, so like join one of them. Finally, my last advice would be to live on campus in your first year, because most freshers will be living on campus as well, and that's how you're going to meet as many people as possible. And then in your second or third year, just live in town, because like living in town is so fun. It's so different from living on campus, and it's also like really fun. I did both. I lived on campus in my first year, which was fun, but it's a bit annoying to like go into town and stuff. And then in my third year, I was living in town, which actually helped me like know the town a lot better and just like discover a lot of new places. And it's also a lot more convenient when you go out, because you don't have to take the bus or the taxi back, and you can literally walk anywhere in town, so it's the best. That's pretty much it for my tips for Lancaster. I can't really think of anything else. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to see more videos by me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat.